Things are going to start happening to me now.
You've done all the reading. You're a scholar. You're a professor. You've done all the reading. You've done the intellectual heavy lifting.
More or less, eat shit and die.
You wouldn't know a fact if it begged you all night long.
Want to give the wrong impression because I am very high.
Ran up behind him with a hatchet. Smash, smash, smash.
Yeah. Care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you. That was...
And welcome, everybody, to the Libertarian Podcast Review. Oh, I swapped this up. Last week we had King Dave on. This week we have two court jesters. We've got Real Engineer and Toplobsta. Welcome, gentlemen. And by the way, I suck at this thing, which means I didn't properly have even Dave say who he is and what he has. Let's start with Real Engineer. Why don't you explain to everybody who you are and what's going on? I'm going to move these.
I'm Cole, but I'm from the Tower Power Hour. I just do Real Engineer just to mess with Tyler because he went pussy and went out from the lawyer shit. He could have been a real man and been an engineer like me, but instead he wanted to be a lawyer. So that's just kind of poking fun. And also I had a good thread this week about using my engineering prowess.
Right, we're going to talk all about it. That's tonight. We're going to talk about Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi.
Mississippi. Yeah. Oh, good. We're going to talk about the worst state in the United States, like for an hour.
Yeah.
How about
we'll talk about your racist screed and Toplobsta. Give your bona fides.
I'm a former trucker. Full-time graphic designer for all of the stars. Believe me, you've heard of them. They're great. They're tremendous. Everybody that I do drawing. I don't know. I really don't do anything for a living. I'm a fucking retard. But you can go.
Both wait. Tyler, do you also work from home?
I do sometimes, but I mostly work from the office. I'm only work like 10 minutes away.
Because it could be three guys that work from home would be pretty awesome. Just because by the way, it is.
I named this
so much
2.5 hosts. I named this 2.5 hosts after your stupid podcast, and I think you're the half. That's all I'm saying.
I've always been the half. I've never been. It's always.
Dickie's in here. So let's first of all, let me just get this top opposite. I've got 2 of your shirts, maybe even 3. They don't fit because I gained a little weight. So
no returns. No returns.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to try to cut weight. Cole, you've been working out. What's going on with this? This is a new leaf you've turned over.
I've lost over 10 pounds already, but at the same time gaining muscle. Like I've gained a good amount. I made Elizabeth. I was at the gym and Elizabeth didn't want to go with me, and so instead I said, "Hey," because she dropped me off because she had to go run some errands or something. I was like, "Hey, while you're out, just go get me a tape measure because I was like, I'm gonna measure myself." And they did get she got me a 60-inch long one. Like I was like, that's not big enough. I need I'm gonna get fucking.
When you measure, do you measure from the top, like from the belly, or from the bottom, like the balls? What is the accurate
from
measurement?
The tank to the?
Yes, that's what I really did say. Whenever I got it, I was like 60 inches. I was like, my dick's way bigger than that. That's what are you talking about? Dude, I'm actually afraid to actually measure it because I really I really am afraid. And honestly, I think is more important, and I don't think a lot of people do, measure the girth as well. Just wrap it around and see how thick
big one
that
depends
thing
on.
is.
I guess you'd measure from the thickest part, right? Because it's like it'll taper off.
Isn't the thickest part like right at the edge of the head? Isn't that like the thickest part?
We are still talking about the penis.
Yes, we're talking about it. Yes.
Well, it depends. Are you circumcised or not? I don't know.
I am uncircumcised. Sorry. I am circumcised. My son will not be circumcised. So there's that.
Has that been confirmed?
We bullied. Yes, we bullied my wife into the entire chat. Bullied my wife into not allowing her to circumcise our son, to do genital mutilation to my.
You know where that skin goes, right? You know where that goes, right?
Right into Nancy Pelosi's veins, dude.
Right into her fake tits. Yeah, man. Not my kids.
You're making a wallet
out of milkers.
Right?
Right to your local synagogue. All right, keep going.
Yeah. This is exactly where I wanted this conversation to go. Sports. I wanted to talk to you guys about something different than just the same old libertarian stuff. But before we even get there, we do have to talk about a few things, which is you did that racist screed online about the water. What's the update on that?
I haven't really looked. Well, the update as in what's going on there, or the update in my life as that, because the update for me
your
is,
life. I don't care about the people.
Well, I'm saying
for
me, it blew up way more than I thought it would. I was hoping for like 15 likes and somebody, but it got like, I think almost 200, which is way more than I thought. And a lot of retweets. So it must have, and it took maybe an hour to put together, more research than I've ever done for any tweet, because I actually went through and did find all the people and actually read some articles on it.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything lately. I know the last thing I did see was that the Army Corps of Engineers and I think some people from some water people from Alabama and Georgia, I think, came over and took a look at it, and I believe they turned it back on and it worked. Like they were like, but I think they're still having problems with just water quality stuff. So, but it's a mess, and like everybody, and there was I think Cajun Libertarian who it was said he lived like 10 minutes away from Jackson, or he did live 10 minutes away from Jackson. And he was like, he said it's 100% what you're saying it is. Like it's just that these people are fucking corrupt. Which and I was seeing people posting articles about how they would give out $15,000, or it was like, I think it was 15,000. It was a ridiculous amount for like someone's bill would come in and it'd be like tens of thousands of dollars, and they would go and be like, "Hey, what's wrong with this?" And they were like, "Nothing's wrong." Or they would be like, "Hey, we'll ask somebody up. You will ask the next person," and it would just sit along and go for months, and until they would just turn their water off. And it was just like doing that all the time. Like these people are just, it's a big problem.
I am glad you brought your comedy to this one. Do you have water problems at your house? I mean, you have Wi-Fi problems. I can see that you're a little sketchy here.
Yeah, the water's well water, so we're good, man. They could try to cut me off, but that shit is coming from the ground. Yeah. Now, Colt, how do they keep the water so brown all the time? Because wouldn't it dilute like after a while? That stuff's coming out like coffee. It's disgusting.
Well, see, so there's a couple of reasons it could be brown. One is,
and is that legit? Is it legit brown? I mean, like you ever see those the documentary about fracking, and they're like, oh, it's fire, but it's really not your water being lit on fire. It was an anomaly, and it's happened before fracking. So is this really all the water is brown, or it's not, or is this?
Well, I think usually the problem when it's brown is either one, they're treating it wrong, which could be a problem. They could have a problem at the treatment plant, which usually you don't, because that's pretty well regulated. Like they have to send in reports every year, and I've done them. You literally have to get a sheet and you fill it out with how many suspended solids you have and how much of this, like you can't be over this parts per million, whatever. There's that. The other problem is, which usually it is in their actual pipe network there, because one of the problems I think is that they never replaced their pipe networks. They just didn't spend the money to replace it. Instead, probably, took a bunch of kickbacks is what I think. I think they're just corrupt.
Pipe Network is a gay bar in San Francisco, by the way.
Wait, are you serious?
No, but
that'd be actually great. Pipe Network.
That's my new podcast, Pipe Network.
Right.
It's like LinkedIn, but for gays. It's just networking for dicks.
Parts for 6
million.
Right after the Dave Smith episode. Come on, guys, have some.
Right. I know.
Right. So how do you think that went?
But no, usually the problem is, and from what I've heard is like they still had old lead pipes. They still had like all sorts of like really probably a lot of cast iron pipes, which and ductile iron pipes they still use today. But if you don't replace them, they will if you can look it up, they'll be like whatever 8 inches diameter, and then after a while it'll corrode until it's like fucking like that, and it's just all and usually that's where you get it from. Sometimes there's infiltration. If you have some pipes, if they're broken, you can infiltrate, so now they're sucking in dirt as well. So that's where a lot of that stuff comes from. But
I imagine it could be if the water gets shut down and then and your pipes aren't being used, or they get emptied and then they turn it back on, cavitation and whatever else can cause problems too.
Oh yeah, it happens. Yeah, and that happens. Well, I mean, you'll see it in your own house, or like if you shut your water off for a bit and then you fucking turn it back on, it will come out sometimes like brown. And it's like it's usually not that big of a deal. Usually it's just like, I mean, probably a little bit higher in iron, but it's like, I'm not really the color isn't as bad as what I think is like if they're at the plant and it's coming out like bad, like from because
I don't.
Which
I
they're
don't see
pulling
color.
from a river. They're pulling from the Mississippi River, I believe, which is probably a pretty shitty river.
I don't know what the tonnage, gross tonnage of waste is there, but
probably a good bit. Which could still it could be a problem at the plant as well, where they're just putting out shitty quality water and then. But I was actually more interested because I know if their water is that bad, usually water is the thing that most municipalities try to focus on of actually getting that good enough, because like that's the one thing people use every day and they're going to see and they're going to complain about. It's all the other things, all the other utilities that I'm really worried about now, because if their water is bad, then their sewer, it's got to be absolutely dog shit. And then their drainage also has to be terrible. So they're probably flooding all the time, have like roads that are covered with water because their drainage pipes are probably terrible. They're probably having backups in their sewage system, and it's probably just all a shit mess. And it's literally just because, I mean, it's not because of racism. Unfortunately, I wish it was because of racism, but it's not. It's because these people just suck at their jobs. It's like that's the only thing.
Right. So that's I'm glad we worked that one out. Toplobsta, do you have any comments about the water system in Mississippi
in Jackson,
and
Mississippi.
why we would care?
Yeah, I mean, does the water color have anything to do with the color of the people there? Like
that was my other thought was maybe so many people were dying and they were just throwing them into the river and it just turned the water brown. That's the only thing. And so they were just like, it's just I'm brown. It's like drinking chocolate milk.
Would brown water make your dick bigger? Because I know like fluoride
makes you
water
jump higher. It gives you an extra muscle in your calf.
Chocolate water.
But your kids are immediately homeless.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing a screed for Flint, Michigan? I know they had a water issue too.
That one was. How
too many white people.
Because it's still been. I believe they fixed it now. They actually do have it pretty good now. Actually, a place that actually does legitimately still have one of the worst water in America, and it was even before. I think when it was rated on the list, Flint was below it, and that's Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, Florida has some of the worst water in the United States.
What's up, Dickie?
It's and I lived there for like 5 years, but like
so it's probably gotten a little better.
Yeah, but it was so bad that I knew multiple people that they were like married, trying to have kids. They couldn't have kids for a long time. They would leave Pensacola and immediately have children. It was like legitimately, but it's terrible, Dickie. Look, you really don't want to look it up because it's like we used a filter the entire time we were there, because it was that bad. But it's just a lot of Usually it's either just it always comes down from management, from this. If you don't care about maintenance, if you don't care about and it goes down to they get a bucket of money every year and they give out where they want to get their money to, and most people want to put their money. Well, not most people. Most politicians and fucking people in local governments want to put it towards streets and parks because that gets them votes rather than water, utilities, stuff like that. Because you don't see that you're not going to get the same positive feedback on replacing a water line as you do on repaving a street, putting a new curb in, or updating a park like that. I mean, that's so it's. Right. I mean, it's huge to update parks updates and stuff.
Yeah. So let's talk about parks. So we're kind of the whole idea. I remember I've heard. Do I call you by your actual first name or just?
You can call me by Cole. It's fine. Yeah.
No. What about the one on the top there? Toplobsta just does not roll off the tongue. So
Danny, call me Danny.
Okay, Danny. We'll do that. I already knew your name, but we'll just go there. And that's nice. You're starting to slowly dox yourself a little bit here and there. I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, I held an event at exactly where I live, so that's like
yeah, he did.
By the way, there was a picture of everyone out there, and then the little kid's tricycle. And I cropped the tricycle out, and I started to do all these things with pictures and putting the trike in different spots, and it was taking way too much time. I just stopped my whole project.
Well, the problem was it in real life, we actually also got every time we took a picture, it was in the background. It was literally like every time,
Right.
it was always in the background. It wasn't even us putting it; was just there always. It was kind of funny.
My yard is like a Jewish backyard or Jewish front yard, with just like kids' toys everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's a fucking tricycle or a bowl or something.
I don't know what that is, because I legitimately don't have any. I probably didn't grow up with any Jewish people around me, so I have no clue what you mean by
You're
Jewish
German.
yard.
Yeah, mine's like a German backyard. It's been hot like an oven here the last few days.
No, yeah, I because that's the thing is like whenever people talk about like Jewish people and all and being around Jews all the time, like I have no idea, because I didn't grow up around. I don't think anybody I knew was Jewish. I don't think I mean, if you would, if there was a Jewish person, that would be like the one Jew. It'd be, I mean, it's kind of like, I'm trying to think like Asians around here too. Like, it's just like they don't exist. I mean, there's no Asians, there's no Jews. Like, it's like black people, white people. That's it.
Well, that can't
and a ton of fucking Mexicans. A ton of Mexicans.
I haven't seen one Hasidic Jew since I've been in Florida, which is crazy. But in Brooklyn, in Borough Park, there is it's like a heavily dominated Jewish area, and you drive through there in their front yard, there's always like kids' toys all through the front yard, and you could tell, like, oh, that's like a Jewish family. They have like a ton of kids, and they just leave all the toys out. It's crazy. So that was I guess that's an inside joke.
When you asked if the video of
white trash
Toplobsta's events came out, I believe there is the live video is out. The video that Top and his cousin were going to do has never came out because he's lazy.
I'm not lazy. My cousin, well, he's actually buying a house now, so he's always doing something. First of all, he has ADD, so you gotta like stay on him to do this stuff. But he's like super busy, so I didn't even bother him with all that. I have some raw footage. I guess I could put it up whenever, but it's just
also, by the way, Top's cousin, absolutely jacked. Dude is a fucking he's a fucking unit. It's crazy. Like he's scary looking. Like he looks like he could fuck you up.
He looks like Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yes. He looks exactly.
Oh, wow.
No, it's almost 1-to-1. It's pretty crazy. Even dresses like him from The Walking Dead. It's Shane from not just Bernthal by himself. It's just Shane from The Walking Dead is who he looks like.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, but the dude is awesome. I forget. I would plug his channel name, but it's like Wild Hog Outfitters. But what he does, he's a firefighter, and then on the side he'll like outfit and bring people to hunt wild hogs, and he does it by knife. So he like raises dogs and trains different dogs, and he'll go do it like. The dogs will attack the hogs, and he'll come with the partner, pull the legs, and just like kill them with a knife. It's in the middle of the night. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, dude.
Do you have wild animals up there, Danny? Do you
Yes.
I know you live on the country. What do you have out there?
Well,
Like
I only have chickens.
Threats.
Yeah, threats. So a fox
Besides your
killed
kids.
5 of my. Yeah, my daughter killed 10 of my birds, but no, a fox killed 5 of my meat birds the other day. He just came and ran through them, just ripped their heads off. I've seen boar tracks and like boar pits. I've seen deer track. I've seen gator back there, a wild turkey, hawks. Hawks took a couple of my chickens. Yeah, there's a lot of shit. Florida's crazy. It's like Jurassic Park out here.
Dude, Dickie, I can't remember what kind of dogs they were, but they weren't Corsos. Like they weren't even that like big of dogs. They were just
his dog now is a Catahoula leopard dog. The Catahoula leopard, I forgot exactly what it is, but it's not like a huge dog, like not intimidating, but they're very fast and very smart.
And the whole point is like they just don't let go. They literally no matter what. And he was telling me they grab them by the hog's ears, and that's what they hold on to. And they hold it. It's because they hold its ears so that when you come up there, you can fucking slit its throat immediately.
Yeah. Well, crazy. A partner has to pull the hind legs, and they'll actually stab it right underneath the armpit here, and goes right into the heart. But if it's like a male, sometimes they'll just castrate it and let it go, because the testosterone makes the meat like taste really bad. So they'll castrate him and let him out, and then he can't obviously reproduce.
That's why if you're going to be a cannibal, always eat the trannies first.
What you guys just said, it reminded me of this frat party I went to in college. A lot of ear grabbing and pulling and partners with this stuff. I don't know, that joke didn't go over well. So that's the whole idea of I wanted to talk to you guys about It's like sports stuff. I know, Danny, you played baseball. I stalked, well, actually it wasn't even stalking. You know, you go on Facebook and it starts recommending. So when I first met you guys, it was a thing of Cole. And I'm like, oh, that's that Cole guy. And then it was like him in a baseball uniform, very thin, by the way. I don't know.
Thin. I'll tell you, I went, when I got to college, I weighed 135. When I was in high school, senior in high school, I probably weighed 125, like 125 pounds. Like,
how did you not become a horse jockey?
Yeah, I really could have. And here's the crazy thing is, like, I played small forward on my basketball team. Like, that's how, like, I was really.
That's how small it was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we were all. I mean, and probably like in most of middle school and parts of high school, I was one of like the biggest players on the team. Like, it was just, we were just small, like small Christian schools. I mean, that's what happens.
You try out, you make the team because.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, I won defensive player of the year like every year too. Like, I was great.
I couldn't even make the tryouts. Couldn't make the tryouts for my basketball team. I went to Lincoln. That's where like Stephon Marbury and Sebastian Telfair and like. So, yeah, there's another dude, another black dude that came from there. Yeah, so it's like that place was super dominated by really tall basketball players, which I'm not. But I was a captain of the baseball team. Yeah. I was a captain there.
That's impressive.
For Lincoln.
Who came out of your school for baseball then? I'm sure they have someone.
Nobody. But we did play. We we played against Dylan Betances. He was like a relief pitcher for the Yankees for a while. I don't even know where he's at now. Yeah, we faced him. He played for Grand Street. We faced him in the playoffs, and the dude was throwing just as hard as he did in the major leagues, and he was like 6 foot something at the time. He was fucking huge, dude. It was terrifying.
It's actually crazy how much different, like, you can see in high school the difference between like a guy that it will go pro and then just your average like high school baseball player or like any sports player. I mean, it's dramatic, the difference. Like, just, I mean, and it's just genetics. Like, it's just like these guys are just genetically better. Like, it comes down to that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, this guy's, I mean, he was throwing gas in high school. He looked fucking huge. Like, he was bigger than everybody else already. And then, like, by the time he gets to the majors, he's probably still pretty small, like, or like just average size to those guys.
Baseball,
well, no,
he was
still.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, you're talking about. Fuck it, this Wi-Fi.
I got a lag here. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tyler. Your show.
So I was just gonna say about you talk about high school, especially the size. You get like a freshman coming in. He's not really developing yet, but you can have a senior that is literally a man. You know, he's going to go to a big school, like in football, and it's devastating, those two differences. Baseball, at least, like my son, he's pretty small. He's fit, but he plays varsity baseball. And, you know, he can handle a big pitcher, that kind of thing, but he would not live if he played football because, you know, some of these guys are just humongous.
Well, Dickie brought up Zion in high school playing against like kids, like he was literally he cried like when LeBron played basketball in high school, the guy went straight to the NBA. Like, he could have. I mean, it's not like he wasn't very much difference from a senior in high school to the first year in NBA. He was still the same guy there. I mean, he was just like a kid getting done with geometry class and like, oh wait, I have to guard LeBron James tonight. Like, it's ridiculous.
Cole, who's the guy from the meme that's like he's like licking LeBron James' ear or something like that?
That's Lance Stevenson. He was blowing
Lance
his ear.
Stevenson. He went to Lincoln, and that dude, when he's walking in the high, like I remember seeing him. He was a freshman when I was like a senior, or like I was just leaving and he was coming in. He was a fucking grown man. It was insane. It's just huge, head and shoulders above everyone else. So yeah, it's like basketball is a very physical game, and I think that's why the players are kind of stupid. And football is the same. Football is the same way, except for the quarterbacks, where there has to be a lot of intense thinking. Baseball, which is why I love baseball, 95% of it is mental. It's about failing and continuing to try, or like just complete strategy.
Well, it's also the most like hand-eye coordination game too, as well. Like, you have, I mean, it's probably I'm trying to think of it. Maybe golf would rival it in just hand-eye coordination, but like baseball, you have to do it because, I mean, golf, it's just, you know, see ball, hit ball kind of, but it's just stationary. Baseball's a little bit different. I mean, you have it thrown towards you, or someone hits it and you have to catch it. Like, there's a lot of like hand-eye coordination with just baseball itself, which I still think the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a 90 or like a 100 mile per hour fastball. That's literally there's nothing harder to do in sports. I mean, no matter who you are, that's probably the hardest thing to do.
100%. Yeah,
And
that's why.
Which did you face that, Top? Did you ever face that kind of gas?
In college, I faced someone that threw 97 or 98. The guy was like built like a Roger Clemens type, maybe 6 foot even, but it's strange. Yeah. Well, a lot of like, so when I pitched, my people would say like my release point was like a Mariano, where it's like I let go of the ball and it looks like it's there, and then it'll zip on you. I was tops about 93, but when you face someone like this guy, it was weird. He would throw the ball and it was just like I don't know, like the weight of like a very heavy ball when you face him. So like even like I foul off one of his pitches and it's like that was strange. It's a strange experience. But yeah, he didn't belong playing with us at that. He's very good. I don't know what happened to the guy.
No, I was watching for the Braves the other day. They had one of their pitchers threw 16 strikeouts. He had 16 strikeouts in a game, which was tied their record. But his fastball was like 100. It was 100. But the thing was like a laser. It was very weird. I hadn't seen like one kind of look like that. It basically had no movement, which I know is kind of like not great. Like, I mean, I guess there's different things for it, but it was literally just like, phew, and it was just like right there. It was like wherever he wanted to put it at, 100 miles an hour, and it was like immediately like from his hand, and it was just there. It was just crazy. It's just like it's like each 100-mile-per-hour fastball can be different because I mean it depends on the movement, depends on like their release angle. It's pretty crazy, and that's why baseball's so fucking hard. Also, the same time as like you can have a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. And he comes with the same arm angle, same fucking everything, and it's an 87-mile-per-hour changeup, and it drops on you. Like, I mean, that's like it's just so crazy. Or you can have a slider and a cutter that go the opposite ways, and they look exactly the same until 10 feet in front of you it breaks. I mean, it's
a lot
crazy.
of it. It's all deception. Like there was a guy, Kyle Farnsworth for the Yankees, and he threw like 101 at the time when no one was throwing 100, but the guy's shit was like just super straight, and he would get rocked all the time. So it was like, yeah. But then you'll have a guy like Greg Maddux, who's one of my favorite players. He's throwing like 89, pinpoint. 91. Pinpoint.
Yeah. He's not throwing gas, but it's just he has insane. Like he can put it anywhere. I mean, he's just painting the corners the entire time, and
and that's where you come with the mental because it's setting you up, and that's where the catcher is obviously very important. And then you do get a mix of someone that can pinpoint. For the most part, and with speed, like a Randy Johnson. My era is a little bit different, you know. I mean, he hits seagulls flying just perfect.
Totally on purpose, right, Peter?
Right. Right.
Randy Johnson like today he would be like just another guy, and now
he'd be a middle
everyone throws
for real.
Yeah, everyone throws like 99, 100. If you don't, like, you're not making it for whatever reason in the MLB. But at that time, yeah, Randy Johnson was like an anomaly. He was throwing 100 and maybe a handful of other guys.
Are you guys both watching Major League Sports now? I mean, I used to, you know, everything. It was, baseball, basketball, football. My dad, I've said this before, I thought he was a scout for the Niners. They didn't think he was, but I mean, he studied it that much. So, you know, he knew everything you can imagine. And I've gone away from a lot of these. The only one I really kind of pay attention to now is football. Was a bad game last night, or a good game, depending on what you think. But are you guys still involved in all that? And does some of the woke shit kind of push you out of it? Or why are you not watching it anymore?
Well, I'm still involved. So I'll watch the NBA finals. I watched all of that. So that's probably the only thing with NBA. I'll catch a couple games here and there. That's mostly because either I don't really care to watch the games because there's 82 of them. I don't really care. Same with baseball for me. It's like there's so many games. I watch every NFL Broncos game. I watched on Saturday. I watch college football mostly all day. Depends on what we're doing, but usually I try to catch.
All day. Wait till you have a kid.
Yeah. It's like
Power Hour, rest in peace.
Right. But mostly it's just NFL. That's usually like the only thing I watch, unless it's like I'll watch, like I said, the NBA finals. But if it's someone I care about, like the Celtics were on this year, I was watching the Celtics NBA finals. I watched, I think, every game.
You a Celtics fan? You got a mishmash of teams. What are your teams?
Yeah. So I am Celtics by family. That was my dad's favorite team because he was white and Larry Bird. And so Duke basketball because my dad was white. And
Leitner.
And Leitner. Yes, exactly. And Coach K. And then Broncos because my grandfather was from Denver and he actually worked on the original Mile High. So he put the sound system in. So he was big there. And then Trailblazers fan. That's just my personal one. But that one's because I played with them on 2K. I played a lot of 2K, and Trailblazers were always my team. Just on there, I like the color scheme, and I like Damian Lillard. Whenever I played with him, was great.
I want to know Danny's too, but I think.
And Braves because they were the closest one to where I grew up.
Yeah,
Atlanta,
okay, that makes sense. So Danny, what are kind of yours, and then why? Because I do think it's important. And then when you've moved, have you changed? Because I think that is the most despicable thing someone can do, change teams. Ooh. Because anyway, Danny.
Yeah. Okay. Let's basketball. I enjoy the sport. I like to play. I don't enjoy watching. I don't know. Maybe I'm tainted from like high school and whatever. Football, kind of the same thing. I think it's a good game, but I don't know it analytically enough to really like appreciate it. I'll watch some football, but like New York Giants or my dad likes the Knicks, so I'll watch that. But I'm not a huge fan. Baseball, growing up a Yankee fan. Like if in my old house, I don't know if you've seen some of my old podcasts. I actually carved out the Yankee facade in the background behind me and all that, but I left it on the wall there. Then I married my wife, and she was a Mets fan. Kind of went to watch some Mets games. Not a Met fan. I'm not a Met fan. But I am a baseball appreciator. And as of like 2009 or 2007, I don't like the way the game has been played, especially by the Yankees. They've ushered this like the home run or nothing kind of stuff in. Or
you don't like that? Okay,
I don't like that.
Aaron Judge making this move on the home runs right now. You're not down with that.
I think no. I think Aaron Judge is a guy that probably should hit home runs, and whatever. If you hit home runs, you hit home runs. That's fine. But maybe a guy like.
But that's
Gleyber
more in the
Torres,
4 slot or something else, not the leadoff and whatnot.
If you I don't care. Put him at leadoff.
Okay.
Put him.
So I don't understand why you have a problem with it then.
What I have a problem with is the Yankees went like 16 games without scoring a run.
Oh, yeah,
and they'll have runners on second base, but they can't hit a single or a sacrifice fly to move a runner over. Nobody can bunt anymore. The Mets are doing a lot of that, and they've been doing that for a long time.
Well, this is what really sucks. Well, because I asked you before the thing, I was like, do you like the recent changes they're making? So they just which by the way, that does work out. If you go to a worse team, so like let's say I moved to Chicago. Why. Let's say I moved to Chicago and like I'm a Bears fan now. Like that 100% now that works out because Bears are ass. Like you can
maybe, but you're a Broncos fan, right? And then you move KC. Do you
No, you can't.
There's certain teams you can't.
Yeah, in division you can't move. That can never happen.
Yeah.
Honestly, almost in conference can almost never move. That might be one. Maybe in conference.
Do you have an issue with like I'm only AL or I'm only NL or AFC, NFC? Do you care like if the Super Bowl or the World Series happens and your team's not in it? Do you pull for just your league? My dad was big on this, by the way.
See, I probably would just outside of my division. So I would not go for anybody like AFC. I would pull probably for the AFC, except for when the Patriots. I didn't like the Patriots because I didn't like Tom Brady until recently. Right. I kind of like him more as the longer he's gone on because he's just become more likable. But I would but same thing with I'm an Auburn fan, and so whenever the SEC got to the championship, I would root for the SEC unless it was Alabama. Then I wouldn't root for Alabama. But that's kind of how it worked out, or I just wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't care, because I did I would hope Clemson would win. I hoped LSU. I usually went for Clemson over LSU too.
What about the draw? If you see two teams, you don't like either one of them. Do you pull for the team that you hate less? Because does the hatred really kind of grip you? For me, that's what it is. If you have the Cowboys and I don't know the whatever.
I don't know what
Broncos.
It is.
I don't know which one I hate more, but.
I don't know what it is. I have this weird thing of or it's either maybe are you saying it has to be two teams you hate or just two teams you don't know and don't care about? Because that's two different things. Because I'll turn it on with college football and it's two teams that it'll be fucking Rice playing Old Dominion, and I'd be like, I don't care. And then for some reason, I'll just drawn to one team. Like it's just like
right. And is it because you like that team or you just hate the other one more? That's what I'm getting at.
I think it's just because I like. Usually, it's just like it's kind of weird. Like I'll just like the a certain player. I'll be like, hey, that quarterback's pretty good. I'm rooting for them because I want to see that quarterback do good. Like literally, and it's only from the 5 minutes I've watched that quarterback play.
Right.
He threw like 3 completions in a row, and I'm like, he's pretty good. I want them to win. Like it's like, but with hating, I mean. I guess it's more like a tiered hate system. Like, I mean, if the Cowboys played the Chiefs, I'd be like, God, I can't. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'll take a look at the standings and see where they're at and see if it's like if the Cowboys are on a losing season and the Chiefs are winning season, I'll be like, hope the Cowboys win because I want the Chiefs to go down in the division. So that's all I really care about.
Lewis says what it is, and I don't know what he means by that, or is he asking what is this? We're just talking sports. These are two podcast guys.
We're going to read. Sir.
I don't know.
Oh, but I did want to ask you. So the baseball's has 2 big rule changes. One, the shift got banned, 100% banned. The second baseman and shortstop have to be on either side of the second base, and their feet have to touch the dirt at all times.
Okay, as a libertarian, I am completely against that. Listen, man. I have like practice for like hours and hours to hit the ball the other way, even if it's like a hard inside fastball. It's not hard to do. These guys have unlimited batting practice.
Yes,
you can figure this out. If you have 9 guys on this side of the field and you can't fucking hit the ball this way, that's on you. And as a matter of fact, when that's happening, the pitcher is mostly pitching like away or outside with the intention that you're going to pull an outside pitch for a weak ground ball to one of his fielders. So if you can't just stick the bat out there and just poke it the other way, that's completely on you. So banning it is ridiculous. It's going to have some unforeseen
because some of the best parts are they put the shift on and some jackoff gets up to bat and just snakes it, and an easy hit that would have been the out, but he puts it right where you didn't want to
right where the second baseman was,
and you're like, well, that's what it is.
Well, but then you also see like a guy, they'll do a shift, they'll have like the third baseman playing at second base, and they'll literally like still hit it right to the fucking like first base. Like they'll still go to the same, like to the shift. It's like, what are you doing? But also, by the way, there was 2 other rule changes. One, they're making the
before you get there, I want to introduce Dickie to John, and then he says baseball requires too much thinking. You don't know who John Kruk is. I'm sorry. He's the guy that was
he was the announcer. He was the announcer for the Dodgers, wasn't he?
Oh, no. That was John Kruk played for the Phillies. Okay. He was first baseman. He was overweight. And one time they're in the playoffs and this announcer comes up to him and he's smoking before the game. And she's like, you're an athlete. And he looks at her and he says, lady, I'm a baseball player. I'm not an athlete.
The best baseball player that ever existed was Babe Ruth. He's eating hot dogs and smoking cigars.
Okay. So anyway, do the rules. Yeah.
They're making all of the bases bigger, which
I heard that.
And they're also introducing the pitch clock as well. 20 seconds.
I'm fine with the pitch clock. The base is bigger.
I'm not okay with the pitch clock.
And here's the thing.
Tell us why.
What you're seeing though is them going all in on giving the hitters every fucking chance they can to like be better. I don't know. It's very weird. They want, I guess, because they're afraid that baseball is getting, which it kind of is. I mean, it's not
passed over.
Because, and they think that if we get more guys to hit and more guys on base, it'll make the game better, and so we can and we'll make it faster, and that make more people want to watch. But I don't think that's their problem. It's just like
this is the same. It's the same attitude where if we're like, oh, if someone makes a tweet against John McCain's daughter and offends her, maybe we should placate them, and then they'll like us more. No, it doesn't work that way, Dave. It doesn't work that way, Major League Baseball. Play your fucking game. You keep changing the game to something that it's not to appease people that don't like this game. If they don't like it, fuck them. I'm sorry. But when I look at baseball, I see a societal issue in general. I don't see I don't see like, oh, there's not enough home runs, or there's maybe this guy's throwing, so we should make the mound higher or loosen or tighten the baseball. This is a societal issue. People want big fake tits and they want it right now when they order it. I want my shit in 2 days. That's not baseball. Baseball, like Dickie said, he's too much thinking. Sorry, then watch football, Dickie. Baseball is for people who want to think about something, who want to see a strategic game being played. And you know what? If no runs are scored and nobody hits the ball, I'm just as enthralled. Me, personally, I'm just as enthralled as if I see 7 home runs in a row. It's very exciting, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It's also, to me, it's gay. But it's a game for higher IQ people.
Yeah, and the same. I mean, if you want to look at it, go back to when the NBA banned the 2-3 zone. They banned zone defense because it was and then you saw like it really, because I want to say, did they banned it after Michael Jordan? Did they not? I can't remember exactly.
No, I don't think. I think zone has been in place
but they
for quite some time. And then they were playing that triangle or whatever that they were running. Are you saying they put in an additional?
No. They
safeguard?
banned the zone defense during, I want to say, during Michael Jordan.
No, I think that was in the 80s. It was already in effect.
Really?
Maybe you're thinking when they added the 3-point line. I don't know.
Well, no, I like the 3-point line.
Me too. The big bases are odd. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to speed up the game. Placate to as Toplobsta likes. Doesn't like the dumbing down of it. The big bases. Is that kind of an analogy to the big
that's
boobs?
Right. They did ban the zone defense in the 40s, but they unbanned it in 2001 and 2002, which is kind of weird.
That's when I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, which I was thinking it was opposite, and they banned it in 2001, 2002. And then we had like the worst years of basketball for a bit. Like for a bit there, it was actually not great for basketball. Like the NBA was not doing that great. Even though like we think of like Kobe and Allen Iverson, I think during that time they actually had, after Jordan retired, the NBA like views went pretty way down for a bit there. But,
hey, Top, what do you think about? So you don't like a clock for a pitcher, but what about like hitters? Don't they have so much time they have to get into the box? I know Garcia Parra years ago would like jerk his hands around and play hitting this and in and out of the box.
Who was the one that always like he
that was him.
He had like this. No, that was him.
No more Garcia Parra.
Every time he would like almost pull his entire gloves off.
Yeah,
I think that there's a lot of psychology. Listen, overdoing it is ridiculous. But again, we're libertarians here, so we kind of have to let people like play in this gray area. But if you're standing there for 30 seconds, like in the set position, you're like, okay, this is ridiculous. But to play around with the time when I was pitching, I would fuck with people like that. Like if I know that I have thrown you 2 curveballs and a changeup to like just to open up our initial sequence here, and I'm about to hit you with the fastball, I might want to sit on this set for a little while and then explode. Boom. Like I think don't tell these people how long they have. It makes it a little predictable. Let them play the game. The game has been fine since, I don't know, like the 1880. Just let them fucking play. It's good. The basis thing is not a big boobs thing. The basis thing is a safety thing. And that comes down to an issue of like just modern day sports in general, where you're paying players millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, they can't have them hurt. Yeah.
You can't.
So how does that equate to safety? Maybe I'm just not seeing the physics.
Sliding or running to first base. I was actually involved in a game where one of my teammates hit a ground ball to shortstop. He ran to first base, and the throw was wide, and the first baseman reached out this way, and he broke his arm right here. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. He reached into the baseline. It was, no fault of my teammate, but it was just like pop, pop, and you heard it go. So it's maybe one of those things, like room to slide. But then how does that affect like the feet? Like, because it has to be 90 feet each base. So like if the base is bigger,
that was my thing when I heard like the which it might be 90 feet from center to center.
Center to
that's
center.
That's what I'm guessing, center to center. Which to me that just means that now base runners gets an extra whatever 2 inches, which matters sometimes.
Yeah.
It does. Like
We all know that.
yeah, but 2 inches is big. I mean, that's huge.
Hey, so on the base thing though, so Danny, that could still happen. You can still have a throw offline, and yes, I understand the first baseman's going to be inside the field a little bit more, but I mean those kind of things can still happen. I mean, so and whatever. If big base, I don't think I have a problem with necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they hit it on the safety thing, but to me, I think it's just a thing of like maybe they're seeing that steals are down a little bit now because they're not seeing it as steals are fun. That's a really fun part of the game is to see stealing. Well, it's gone way down because the analytics have said it's not great, and so maybe they're going, okay, maybe if we make the base bag just a little bit bigger, they can get there. I mean, it's just that split second between of where the guy, like catcher throws it, the guy catches it and puts his mitt down. I mean, again, 2 inches matters. And also, yes, you're right about minor league games. They're great. I just went to one a couple of weeks ago with my father-in-law and my wife and mother-in-law, and it was great. It was like we left. Unfortunately, we had to leave in like they went to extra innings. And we left at at the end of the ninth. We were just ready to go, but it was still a good game. They scored like a ton of runs. It was really fun. They would have won, but except that they had errors.
Here's a fun story. One of my first jobs that I ever had, I worked at it was a Mets minor league baseball team in Coney Island called the Cyclones, and I actually got fired from there. Somebody, I was scooping ices, and somebody from the stands was like behind me, and they stole my money bag. Whatever, it's the whole thing. I think that they're making it more offensive friendly, which is just what they want to do, and it's just gross. It's not. And
someone mentioned that in the chat, and they're just every sport. They're making every sport more offensive friendly.
Yeah.
Look at football, baseball, basketball, all of them. They want more offense because that gets more viewers. But I think it also like erodes the game itself. Defense is just as important as offense is, if not more important almost.
I think baseball has this. I think baseball has this purity problem. Like I'm with you on this. I love baseball. Nothing is better than like the playoffs when you're watching those games. You know, it's late at night and everyone's staying up for this thing. I'm on the West Coast, so it's much better for me. And I love those games. You know, it's full suspense. But you know, there's a purity factor that I think baseball has more than the other sports, which is, you know, don't mess with it. There's civil wars almost over the designated hitter. So these new rules coming into, I get it, but yeah, at the same time, you know, these guys want to make money. They want their sport to flourish, and they don't want it to just go away. So I mean, I'm not an athlete in the sport. I don't know. I kind of like the good old days. I don't know what's there's some arguments to making changes too. You conservatives,
I think
here comes the hammer.
Yeah. When I look at baseball and I look at the changes that they're constantly making to placate people, I immediately look over to like the UFC. And the UFC is like, fuck you. We're the same. I mean, besides like the
I was gonna say no, they're not. Because they allowed a lot more back in the day.
So you want more brawls? Let's have more fights in baseball. I'm with you. No problem there.
No, well, I mean, listen, UFC did like regulate, like, all right, you can't bite your opponent, you can't punch them in the nuts. That's okay. And I think that they should allow. They did
also get rid of the kicks on the ground too, correct?
They never had that. That was always illegal.
Oh,
they
really?
should allow it. One FC has that. They're in Japan. They have like knees to the head on the ground. That's fine.
Yeah, knees to the head on the ground.
That's if you're having two different genders fight. The kicking on the ground seems to be perfect if you have a woman and a man fighting.
There was and then there was another one the headbutt.
The headbutt.
Also, the headbutt should be allowed as well, I believe. I think.
That's a tough one. Again, if you allow it though, like I'm okay with the rules set as they are now. And they haven't changed them for like, I don't know, 20 years from what they are now. Yeah, the 12-6 elbow is a little ridiculous. They do change some things like they'll do like instant replay in some states, like California might allow it. They'll do the 12-6 elbow should be allowed. They have like the 5-minute rest for a groin strike. That's cool. But there's not much change. Like the sport is the sport.
Or even UFC go to boxing as well. Boxing hasn't changed like in.
Yeah, but who's watching boxing now?
Boxing is still huge. You got to think boxing. I mean,
it is
I mean,
huge,
at least
UFC's big. The problem with boxing is the money.
Wait, I don't want to talk.
UFC's bigger overall, but the boxing's highs are much higher than UFC's highs. I
don't want to take your Cole's statements on what sports are flourishing. We've had this whole debate in the chat about women's soccer is taking over the world, and I'm like, I don't think so. But
I did not say that.
Oh, you were like, it is the #1 sport on campus.
That is not true. I did not say that. You're lying at your teeth. I never said that.
I swear to God, maybe women's basketball. I don't know. Women's something. You were going on. You had a full chat thread just defending.
That's not true. There is no fucking.
I disavow.
No. The only thing I said was that pickleball was getting pretty big. That's what I said.
I'm
not wrong about that.
I'm friends with the guy that's like spearheading pickleball in like all of the United States. He's like I forget what his title is, but he's
Pickler?
like he's like the CFO of like the United States Pickleball League. It's crazy. You met him. He was at the Toplobsta thing, the Robin Fire thing. Yeah, he was there.
This sounds about as lucrative as the head of cycling in the U.S. So
I bet that is not a. Oh,
it is. Believe it or not, that's one of the biggest sports.
The problem with we want to get into cycling. I'll just say the problem with cycling on the world level, you can have very high obvious people. I don't know that you have the same equivalent with pickleball. I don't know who their Lance Armstrong is as an example, but you do know who our Lance Armstrong is. So,
but what's crazy is Lance Armstrong is such an outlier though, because. I mean, 99.9% of the not you, but 99.9% of the population could not name another cycler outside of Lance Armstrong.
Well, or cycler is it's not the term. Yeah,
cyclist. I don't fucking know.
I know you don't, but I do.
Exactly.
I guess it's like saying baseballer. Like,
right. No, I get it, but in the world, you go to Europe and everyone knows what's going on over there. So it's not like pickleball.
That's not a real place.
It's on Flat Dave's map. I'll just so I beg to differ. So how far did each one of you get in baseball?
I played high school for 2 years. That's it. My team they
first two or last 2 years.
It was junior and senior high in high school. They started it and then they just needed guys
to Title
play,
IX
and
issue?
I played and I was not great. I think I batted 6th, maybe 7th.
Okay.
And I played center field because I was fast. That was the one thing I am. I'm actually pretty fast, actually.
You look fast. Like Toad is very bottom heavy, and he looks like his legs move fast. Yeah. Toad, Cole.
I was about to say you fucking. Toad kind of does look. I mean, Toad kind of does look bottom heavy, I guess.
Yeah.
No, Cole got that donk, man. If you see him in real life,
no, it's gone. No, I actually, fuck it.
Say it ain't so.
Elizabeth is very upset about this.
Let me see.
It's
my God, that happened to me too. I lost
because I started working out. I lost 10 pounds. 7 was in my ass, dude. 7 pounds of fat in my ass.
15
100%.
pounds since the last time you see me. I've lost like 10 to 15 pounds. I'm down to like 172. I was like 185-ish around there, almost 190. And my ass is the first thing to go. I had a donk before, and now it's just gone.
Dude, I was hoping it would come all in my belly. That's what I was hoping for, and I would leave that belly fat. No, it was like ass. Get out of here. It's like belly. Let's stay.
You can build the ass back up. I'm just saying it's possible.
Yes, but I think it's just I don't think it'll ever get as big as it. I don't think.
You know what? Slim the waist down, and it'll look bigger again.
That's true, but and I guess I don't know. Well, not all cyclists have that big ass. It's only those like fucking
track riders. We've been
those guys that do like the speed cycling with like the cool helmets.
No, it's not those ones either. Those are goobs. We don't need to get into cycling because this is going to bother me because I'm going to get real autistic about it. No, actually, what the.
Wait. So, has there been any rule changes in cycling? I kind of want to hear this. Has there been any rule changes in cycling that you're like, no, come on, like really?
I could get into it. Yes. So this is legit. So, and it's so stupid about the UCI. It's the governing body for cycling. Okay. And there's doping issues and there's all kinds of little rules here and there. One of the ones that they instituted a few years ago was people started wearing compression socks before riding or, to recover. Okay. That's a thing. By the way, they work good. And then they were worried that, then for aerodynamics, these guys started wearing them in races, and so they put a sock length rule in place for how high your socks come up in its mid calf. Just so you know.
How does that affect the aerodynamics? Wouldn't that make your leg thicker?
No, because material, like the material you wear, is actually very aero now, and so you're actually better off wearing material over you.
It was like whenever. Do you remember whenever in the Olympics the United States had those those swimsuits that were like legit? They actually did get banned because they were more slippier. Like they're slippier. I don't know.
Slippy.
Like. That's not like more slippery in water than actual skin, and they were just like, no, you can't use that. But it was, I guess, it's that kind of thing.
It's as you might know, since you're the real engineer, laminar and turbulent flow, which there's different. Anyway, they spent tons of money on different helmet. They had this new helmet in the tour this year. It came out and it looked like they had this thing underneath. It was the ugliest thing, and I'm like, sorry, you're sacrifice. You want a little bit of aero for looks, because that's not a good thing. But
it's all. But no, here's the thing. Whenever I play any sports, it's all more about the drip. You know, that's what I care about is the drip, because I want to be looking nice out there.
And the dudes that wear they have all the Under Armour shit and all the nicest baseball gear, the worst players.
Oh yeah, 100%. That was me.
I was garbage.
I was the guy. I had in basketball. I had the shooting sleeve. And I had I had the nice compression shorts with the pads on it too, and I was out there, but I was ass. Now the only thing I never really got that was good was good shoes. I never really got the greatest basketball shoes. It was always mid-tier basketball shoes. I never got the really good ones. But I always had the drip though. I always look good out there.
You wearing the Shaqs?
I was wearing shit. We actually did 1 year. Legitimately. We our team shoe 1 year was and ones. I swear to God, it was and ones, and it was not they were
atrocious. Ugly. What was the name of Marbury's? Marbury had a brand. I think they were called Marburys. They were fucking hideous, bro.
Dude, the only good year is we had we really wanted the Hyper Dunks, because if you remember back, which that might have been after your time, but the Hyper Dunks back in 2011, 2012 were sick. The Nike Hyper Dunks, if you remember, they were awesome. We couldn't get the Hyper Dunks. We got the Hyper Fuses or something like that. So it was the one below it, but it was still pretty nice. That was the best one I ever got.
My
college team, it was great.
My college baseball team had a contract with Adidas, which was really nice. They had some nice metal spike cleats, and their trainers were just beautiful. I wish I could buy them again. I don't even know the name.
We had a deal with them for cycling shoes when they first, and they were horrible. But you talk about the clothing, or when you're in a sport and you're pretty deep into it, you can just look at someone sometimes, just little different things they do, and you can tell if they know what's going on in their sport. And it's not necessarily wearing the right stuff. It's sometimes how they wear it, because of the position. What were do you guys know of anything that would point you?
No. You know what's weird? What's weird is I saw this. This is just because I saw it yesterday. I saw it was a shorts, but this was about lacrosse. I've never played lacrosse. I probably watched one game, and that was because it was just randomly on and nothing else was on during the summer.
Yeah.
But there was it was here's one lacrosse team, and there was then there was the drip lacrosse team, and I couldn't tell a difference. But there was only one thing, and in the comments, everybody that was big lacrosse, it was the one guy, and I guess they call them buckets. That's what they call their helmets. They call them buckets for some reason. But he had his bucket on his bucket on backwards, and they were like, "That's the guy. That's the fucking drip right there. Is the guy wearing the bucket backwards?" And I was like, "It's just a random sports thing of everybody knows." I'm guessing. I'm trying to think in basketball. I mean. It's kind of gone away. It used to be the white guy that did have the shooting sleeve, not me, but it was another guy. He could just shoot. He was just he was the shooter, and he could always shoot. That was just the thing. Either he was a lights out or he was ass. But it just depended. And then, I mean, I'm trying to think in football, what's the big one? The visor, the dark tint visor. This is more in high school than it is in college or NFL. But if you have the dark tint visor, especially the Nike one or the Oakley one, you're probably pretty good.
In baseball, if you see a dude with a glove and the thumb is bent back and the pinky's bent back, you're like, oh, this guy could fucking field. You know that he's out there
oh yeah,
it's a wizard. Yeah. And he's probably Spanish.
Yeah, that's true. The Spanish guys are always the big one. By the way, what did you, Top? What did you do to break in your baseball mitt?
So when I was young, like the old school way, they would like put it in an oven. My dad would like want to bake it, but then when I got older, I would play third base exclusively. And then I moved to pitcher, so it didn't matter so much. But at third base, I wanted my glove stiff. I didn't want it to like be like this flappy shit. So my glove had that. Yeah. I just had that like the bent back like this, so that way if a ground ball comes in, there is like a hop. I have that like inch of error on either side. But I wouldn't even close the glove. It would just be like this, and I would just grab it. Like it hits the glove, and I grab it.
I remember a guy in our baseball team actually tried to bake his glove, and he actually burned it. And so for the rest of the year, he straight up had a burnt glove. It smelled so bad. I don't know if you ever smelled burnt leather. It's not great.
You're supposed to put like oil in it, and
he left it in there way too long. I'm pretty sure the glove turned black. It was so.
He slow cooked it. That's funny.
Yeah, dude, that was so fucking funny. I mean, I always heard about like you put like a softball in there and then rubber band it for a couple times, or the kids that always sleep, like they would put it under their pillow every night and sleep on it.
That's like outfielder stuff. Like you want like a big pocket if you're in the outfield. For an infielder, every position in the infield, my glove was like 11 1/4 inches. It was like basically a baby glove, but it's all I used it for was so that my hand doesn't break. That's if you're playing baseball, it's just like. You want to be a magician. So when that ball comes, you want it to hit the glove, brace the impact, and you want it right to your ear or right here almost as fast as possible. That's it.
That's so true. So when I grew up, my dad, you put the rubber band, you do all this stuff, and you oil it down. And then my son he plays second, and he got a new mitt, and he wanted a shorter one. He was super stiff, so he could turn the double play. He doesn't want to be clasping, and like you said, have that there. So things are different than my day. We just had the soft little glove that the Babe Ruth used.
Yeah. You said
in the 1920s.
It still had all the fingers. Like you still had a.
You're like, I think that's just your work glove at home. I don't understand. But those guys were magicians too, and I think that's what's great when you see the extra levels that even back in the day, you see stuff, turning the double play and just all the little precise little things that they can do. It is amazing, and you can see, go ahead.
I forgot another good one is if the guy has a flat bill or slightly rounded with, and this is also a must, has to have his hair in the back curl over the back of the brim. That was another big one. If it was a guy that, which is almost a baseball look now anyways, but which now is more like a mullet. Like a lot of guys are having the mullets out there.
Well, you're saying that because he just always wore the hat, right? He never.
He always wore the hat, and so it just kind of his hair curls over the hat. Whenever I saw those guys, and I don't know if this was your time either, Top, but you remember like it was like 3 bands that was twisted. It was it was always a baseball like necklace. It was those 3 twisted. I knew it. I knew you had one. That was another thing. Everybody like it was. If you were the baseball snob, you had one of those.
I was playing at the time too, where like Manny Ramirez was a big deal. So guys were getting into this like baggy but like real long baseball pants stuff. Yeah, so you'll see people with that, and that was like kind of the style in New York. It was a style. But if you see a dude with the caps, like he had like the high socks and he's showing those, I'm like, oh, this guy's like. He's not fucking around, man.
You had the high socks, didn't you? You did the high socks. I knew, because I saw the picture of you. You had it, yeah.
Yeah, we did the high socks. That was my dad. So my dad played a little back. He played baseball, and he was a pitching coach forever. But he played fast pitch softball. So this was, if you've ever seen them. By the way, he was an amazing pitcher.
Wait, did they overhand it?
No, underhand.
No, it's like
okay. I was about to say,
we're talking high 90s stuff, right?
Windmill, fucked up.
Yeah. What was interesting is so in the summer teams would just pick up my dad, and our family would just travel, and he'd just play all summer for tournaments, and he'd do double hitters as a pitcher because your arm's not getting worn out. But it's crazy. So anyway, he sat me down. This is how you put on your uniform, and this is how you roll your socks. and it was a whole effing procedure. And I'm sure, I don't know if Danny went to that length, because I think they started to have the socks underneath that were, you know, a little bit like kind of built in or whatever. Your stirrups, your socks underneath, you got to pull the pants down, you pull them up, you roll them down, you pull them back up. It was a big deal. And if you ever had to, what was the guy, side note here, he slid into first base. This is in the major leagues. He got dirt down. He slid in head first, got dirt down his pants. So he took his pants off at first base, and all of a sudden he figured it out and he pulls them back up. I don't know if you ever see that.
I don't think I've seen that. I thought you were
It's a white guy.
Whatever.
Someone.
I wore the socks with the stirrups sewn in, because the stirrups were always ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
Give me one second, guys. Be right back. Go ahead.
No, see, but whenever I played, it was now back to the other. It wasn't any more baggy, and I always thought the stirrups looked weird. I still do. I don't like the high socks. I never have. I don't know what it is. It's just that it's not cool with me. Even like, I don't know. I always thought they looked dorky. But sorry, Top. But for me, it went back to whenever it was the very tight, the extremely tight baseball pants that are like, I mean, hugging your calves too all the way down. But then like either over the cleats or tucked into the cleats. That was the like, and I think that's what I always did, the tuck in, because I want to have that nice taut on the back. But I also wasn't that great at baseball, so it didn't really matter. I was just out there just swinging, dude.
That's perfectly fine. Oops, hang on a second here. I almost left the studio. Do you still go out and do, because what always is concerning to me is, so I was lucky, I played all these team sports, but I had this cycling thing on the side, right? And then that became my primary thing as I went through, which actually does well when you're out in the real world and you're done with college, because now who gets together for basketball or baseball anymore?
Yeah,
that's difficult. And if you do, it's trash, like church league type of stuff. So you're back into lifting weights and doing this. Is this been a concern of like, I've got to find some sort of activity?
There was actually a guy, and I'll shout him out. His Anarcho Badger. I don't know if he said he didn't really care about getting big on Twitter, but he's a great guy. And he was like, "Hey, you want to play some basketball?" Because he was like, "I heard you play basketball," and I was like, "Yeah." And so he invited me to go play. I really want to go play with him. The problem is it's on Monday nights, so Monday is my leg day. So then I have to go do legs and then go play basketball afterwards, which is just not a great thing to do. It's not fun at all. But and then this Monday, the Broncos are playing, so I can't play this Monday. So I haven't gonna play with them yet. But that is something I was like, if I'm gonna get in shape, why not go play some actual sports again and just have some fun? Because I really want to play basketball. Another one I really enjoyed. This was the only thing I played in college was flag football. Flag football is a ton of fucking fun.
Yeah.
And I also did ultimate frisbee. We would have ultimate frisbee day. Yeah. I didn't play I was not great with the frisbee.
That's the
again. I was just fast. I was just fast enough so like I could just play like any sport that it was like didn't require the exact just hand coordination, because I'm not great with just my hands. But like just being quick in a straight line, I could fucking do that. And that was like football and ultimate frisbee was a fucking great time. But I would love to play like flag football again. But again, those guys are also like anybody that actually goes and plays like flag football, like they're probably pretty serious about it too for some reason.
Yeah.
And so like they're gonna be like smoking me, like it's gonna be pretty bad.
So a few years ago, so my kids they go to small school. Well, the one kid anyway, my two older ones did, and they played flag football. Matter of fact, my daughter has a flag football tournament this weekend. She's the quarterback. So she's pretty stellar. But my son was in there, and they had like a parent, you come and, kind of scrimmage against the kids. So I go, and I've been, bike riding. So my cardio is supreme, but I'm not doing any running. So I go out there and I'm flying all over the place, pulling flags, dove. And I went to the hospital afterwards because I thought I broke my bone in my chest, but it was just like cartilage, and I was super sore. So, those things happen. So Top, as you disappeared, we were just saying, you do these team sports and you play baseball, and then you get married and you get out there. I mean, who's playing? What are you doing to make sure that you're not becoming, we got to roll back the weight type of situation?
Yeah, I did college baseball for a while, and then I met my wife, and then I did other stuff. I played music. Then I kind of wanted to get back into baseball, and I did this upstate league with my cousin, which was like, I didn't think it was going to be as serious as it was, and I was playing against like major league rejects, like people that were in the minor leagues, just like huge genetic freaks. And whatever
Oh, I thought you were talking about they were such rejects. They were major league.
Okay,
gotcha.
Like literally, literally, like they're like, yeah, I played for the Dodgers, but now I'm like, I'm just here chilling because I didn't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do the minor league circuit. And these guys were like on another level. It's strange when you meet somebody, when you meet people that are just like effortlessly on that level.
Oh yeah, and they never lose it too. That's the crazy thing is like that sort of athlete. Like they'll still be like 10 years out of when they were playing, but they'll still have like for 10 pitches they could be just as good as they used to be for like maybe 5 to 10.
But
like
the guy's
hit it.
He's a complete fuck up. He's drunk at the game, and still better than me. And I was like, okay, this is like weird. Like, I wanted to do something casual, but like I was like, all right, that was crazy. And then I went into the ultimate one-on-one sport, which is I was doing since I was young, but like MMA or boxing. That's like the best shit. Like you don't have to worry about a teammate. Like when you lose a baseball game, unless you're pitching and you lose the game yourself, you know, you're not really in control of what happens. But in MMA or boxing, you're like, I control this shit. If I lose this sparring, that's because of me. That's the best thing that I haven't done in a while. But
how much did you get your shit kicked in at the beginning? Like how much? Because that's because I want to see. That was one of the other things I was talking to Liz. Like I would love to do some BJJ. I actually think like it would be pretty fun to actually go do it, and actually it'd be helpful too because like I don't know how to fight at all. So I mean, it'd be good to at least learn something. But it's also like the thing of like how much do I want to pay, and then how much do I want to like get beat up for like a year before I actually like win something and actually
they'll match you up. They'll match you up nice. I mean, depends on what gym you're gonna go to. But the gym I went to, I did some BJJ. I wasn't like I'm more of a striker, and I had boxed before, so I didn't get like fucked up because I knew like the spacing and I knew how to like handle myself a little bit. But the kicks are and MMA in general is a different distancing than boxing, obviously. But yeah, go to a BJJ gym. They're not gonna. Those guys they're all great. Anybody who does MMA. Not everybody, but most likely they're not. They're just not assholes. They understand what people are doing there. Go there, be humble, work, and they're not gonna like knock you out or break your arm or anything. Yeah.
I was doing basketball. I think I mentioned this in the chat a few years ago, and I blew my Achilles out, and that's no fun. So, are you competing with this, or is it the fighting, or is it just simply to get in shape and kind of do some sparring?
No, yeah, I never competed, but every Friday I was there and we were just doing sparring. Yeah. But
so it's like a 1 day a week thing?
No, I was there when I was doing it was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I would only go for the striking classes. That was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then on Wednesday they would do like BJJ after the striking, and I would stay there and do a little bit of that. But I wasn't a fan of like having another after you do striking for an hour and a half and like you're sweated up, then they just like, all right, we're gonna do jiu-jitsu now. And I was like, you have like this sweaty guy that knows more on top of you, and just I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Right.
Yeah, it was not fun. But if you go to a jiu-jitsu school, like a specific BJJ school, it's a lot different.
So Kyle's trying to move us off of the athletic part. It could be quite an athletic feat to. Do we want to talk about Lydia? I don't really want to get there. So
yeah, I
thought the only athletic feat with Lydia is picking her up. That's about it.
Right.
But no, Kyle, come on here and fucking talk about lifting, dude. He was giving me some tips the other day. Like it's which actually lifting, I've actually really gotten into like the fucking science of it too. I've been watching a lot. Well, I think it was Top turned me on to Jeff Nippard or Jeff Nippard or whatever the fuck his name. Isn't that he? No. It was Bert. It was Ghost Bert that actually turned me on to him. But there's different guys that like in there that actually like, and I was looking at it like how to build muscle, how to like what you need to do for this, and like if you want to build muscle rather than and I was kind of a mix. I want to build muscle, but I actually just want to get more fit, so I want more cardio as well. So I was like, I'm not just going in there and just lifting, so I do some cardio as well. But it was actually it's pretty cool. Like whenever you find a new hobby and then you actually get invested into it, especially something that actually makes your life better as well. And then like I messaged Travis, fucking confirmed Hanklet on Twitter, great guy. And I was just like, dude, I got the gym bug. I was like, I just want to get back in there every fucking day and just work out and like even on my rest days, like I want to get back in there. I don't want, but I know I need to rest. But yeah, it's just it's pretty fun to get some and I would love to have that again with like maybe softball. Maybe that was like a slow pitch softball men's league, which is more just fucking fun. I haven't heard of any of those guys, so okay, I fucking have to look him up now.
By the way, Kyle, and I'll let you go. Kyle had on Sal from Mind Pump. I've never ever watched that or listened to that. Very good interview. They don't really talk fitness, but the guy is ripped. My wife listens to these people religiously, so I've been working out, and which I haven't really ever done. So it's like a week and a half straight of doing stuff, because you have to. I'm pathetic. And I ride my bike all the time, but I don't get in the gym. And my buddy that's up here in the chat, he's actually he said something about dad bods. He's got a great body. I love you, John. A little gay on this one, but you know, the older you get, you can do these kind of things. You can kind of push. I just saw something about studies. You know, of keeping being active. Your life, you go longer, live longer. Being active helps you push off dementia, all kinds of things. So you know, there's good things for it. So I know we're reminiscing about baseball as high school, but that's my concern about going forward. And I'm glad, Cole, that you jumped in here and started working out.
Dude, it's been great. Which, by the way, so did you work out whenever you were cycling, or was it literally just cycling was your like?
When I was doing it, it was to the point of, hey, you don't want any extra weight on you, including muscle. So you're just like riding your bike. You're not even taking care of your upper body. I mean, you know, you're just thin and fine. And then the trend kind of came different, which you can almost see like a cyclist my age, you know, in their 50s and go, oh, he hunched back, you know, no. And so you have to do some other things. You have to do some running. You got to do, you know, work your bone density. So the thought process has changed. And yes, you can. And
are they faster? Are they faster now because of that? Or
I think so. Well, yeah, like in all sports. Well, actually, to get on that just a little bit. So the Tour de France happened, and they had this giant, you know, climbing every day. They time themselves up these climbs. You know, the people do, and the guy that just destroyed everybody and he won up this thing. Everyone's like, oh, maybe he's drugged. But you look at the times of the last 20 years, and he was. Like actually it was since 1996, he was like top 20. So it was much less because those other guys, even though technology is better now, these guys are actually much better. The drugs were just superior. So you saw these guys back in Lance's day just destroying the guys of today with, you know, much lighter bikes.
Which I'm guessing that's the whole big thing. Like it wasn't. I guess PEDs in cycling might be one of the big because like you get to stay so thin while also keeping the most amount of lean muscle you can. And I think that's where like the PEDs came and helped.
The big deal, the growth hormone, HGH, all this other stuff you take, it allows you. What it does is you can do a 7-hour ride, and you can work out in that 7 hours over and over and over. Where before you would fatigue in 5, so now you can go harder, longer. It's like the blue pill. And so in effect, it helps you in training. So then they would still dope during the tours and stuff. But yeah, that's definitely right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because I always wondered because when you said you didn't work out, and I was like, oh, did you work out? But it makes sense because I guess the thought was cardio. Like you just want to be able to last the longest you can.
Yeah.
And because it's like it's not fast twitch muscle fibers when you're doing it for 8 hours. Like those will burn out within the first hour. Now you're just on to, okay, can I just push myself, push these slow twitch fibers for,
And a lot of it is strength to weight ratio, like going up a hill. Once you start going up steep stuff, like all that body weight, bigger guy just doesn't do it. So you need to, anyway. Yes, it's
great. No, I like hearing you talk about, I like hearing anybody talk about this stuff like they know a lot about. And so like you talking about cycling, I could be interested in.
Oh, that's great. No, but the idea though is things change so much, like fitness, the diets, the way we think about things. Jay, you're talking about Sal in here. Even I would just listen to something the other day, and it totally correlates with what I do on the bike now, which is you try to go every day, and I do short, hard duration stuff. And he was talking about you can do 20, 30-minute workouts every day, rather than like a huge 2-hour workout. And he says you get actually a lot of benefit from that. So for me, though, you've got to be consistent. You start missing a few days, it really kind of puts you behind.
Yeah, that was a big thing because I remember because my dad was always he was always usually in the gym, and he's been back in there now. He's gained a lot of weight, like muscle weight, like he's gotten a lot bigger. But it was always that thing of like old bro science, which they call it the bro split, which is the bro split is like you do arms one day, and then you do your back, and then you do your chest, and then you do your legs, and then you're done. Or then you do your chest, and then you're done. which like then now they're like, okay, that's not most like there's been so much more science now. That's what I've been digging into, like everything I've kind of learned. Like the whole, I remember like growing up and hearing like, well, if you want to like gain more muscle mass, you do low reps, high weight, and if you want to get endurance, you do high reps, low weight. And it's like, not really. Like it's kind of maybe a little, but it's like that's not necessarily like it's all about like going to like muscular failure, like getting like how much RPE you have left. Like that was like the big thing. Like now it's like they just know so much more. It's like I guess it's been like that with almost any sport. Is like the technology and studies they've done over the years. Like a lot of the things that they used to do, just like no, that's not the optimal way to do it. And I guess that's why you see a lot of like guys now. I mean, just athletes. Well, maybe not even just their peak is as good, but they can hold their peak for so much longer. Right. Like you have Tom Brady playing. He's 44 fucking years old. And he's still one of the best NFL players in the league. He was actually rated number like 2 or maybe he's number 1. I think the players rated him the best player in the league. Or then you have LeBron James, who's he's probably gonna play till he's in his 40s, or at least he said he was to play with his sons. Like these guys, because like the recovery is probably where the most advancement in sports science is taking place.
That's why my favorite sport, I love baseball, but my favorite sport is MMA, because when you see a new guy who is like embracing this new scientific kind of study, or like the way that they treat their body, when they face the guy that was great before, there's such a stark contrast of like, he just knocked you out. Like this is definitive. We'll never know who is better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James. Because I mean, even if they did face each other in their prime, it's like a basketball game. It's weird. With MMA, it's just like, oh no, you killed him. Like you would have choked him lifeless, because that's how like it's just so black and white that you could see the differences. I love that shit.
Yeah, you talk about so back to cycling, because it's kind of what I know. So when I'm working out, I don't even think. I just follow along with what my wife tells me to do, because I don't want to get into it.
Me and you both, brother.
Life, buddy.
No, but it's seriously, it's just like I don't want to. I get way too deep into my own training stuff, and it's just like I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to follow along, and it's fine. But you go back to years with. Sorry to bring Lance Armstrong, but it's the same idea, I think, with sports, which is he used to be only a certain percentage off from where he needed to be all the time. So, other sports, sometimes you take the winter off, you get fat, and then that work to get you back into that optimal range was, you had to time it and you had to make sure you got there. And I think you've seen that with probably a lot of sports where guys just are kind of, the engine's always warm, and they can just step it down to be hot, whatever it is for, and fitness. My dad used to always make fun of baseball players, like you get the guys in the outfield or their pitchers, you guys had to always run a lot, because you see that guy, why is he always pulling a hamstring, out in right field? Well, because he's just standing around for hours and he's got these massive quads, and all of a sudden he like puts them into use, and then the whole thing's just snap. I don't know, maybe that's still happening. I haven't followed baseball enough.
It is. When I was pitching,
it'll always be then.
I was addicted to running more so than even baseball. And it got to the point where like I was losing speed on my fastball, because I dropped down to like 152 pounds, or maybe almost 140, like the high.
You must have been running a lot.
I was running. Yeah, dude, it was insane. I was doing, you know what like suicides are?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But long distance suicide. So
were you doing poles?
I'd run the entire Coney Island boardwalk, come all the way back, run halfway, come all the way back, run a quarter, come all the way back.
This is Rambo-like.
Yeah, and then I do like wind sprints up the ramp on my block on 33rd Street. That was like so like you have the long distance stuff, and then I have like the sprints, so for like endurance, and I just became so light that like you could just push me over. I hated it.
But you could go for forever, though, dude. You probably, probably could run for that. Yeah,
and my brain was like, bam, bam, bam. I was like fucking super sharp, because I don't know what it is, man. Once you lose like fat and all that other garbage, whatever's keeping you down, you're like, oh my god, I'm just bubbling with ideas.
Well,
like,
it's literally a blood thing. It's literally like your cardiovascular system can pump, like it's so much like better for you. Like when you get, especially because I bet your resting heart rate was like ridiculously low for
Yeah.
and just, I mean, it's pretty crazy, like what happens when you get really fit like that, when you get like insanely like within the top 1% of people. Like, I mean, the changes that happens in your body. I mean, you sleep so much better. You start, I mean, or even just, you know, doing something where you take from your fitness of like where I was at, where I used to get, it's funny. This was a couple months ago. I used to get winded eating. Like I would like eat so much.
You're the Lizzo of the podcast world.
I would like
Rocky is what I meant. Yes, Justin.
I would finish eating and I'd be like, oh God, like I mean, it would hurt. I would like, and especially when you start counting calories, like because that's like outside of just working out, I've also been really strict in like my calories.
Yeah.
Not really strict, but I've been under 2,000 calories every day for probably like a month and a half, 2 months now. And at one point I was trying to get under 1,600 calories because I was trying to lose it. But then I found out that probably wasn't optimal. I probably just need to lose a little bit. I was trying to lose 2 pounds a week. I was like, that's probably not, I'll probably just lose a pound a week. But like you start being like, oh wow, I ate so much before and I didn't even realize it. I was eating like 4,000 calories a day. And it wasn't even phasing me. And now I'm like, I'm eating 2,000 and I'm like, what, how did I even live before? It's pretty crazy.
Well, what's crazy when you're counting those calories, it's something as mindless as just having a little, I'm going to have to grab this snack and the cookie or whatever, even if it's healthy. And you're like, oh, I got to add that to the thing. Oh shit, that's 150. Well,
yes,
I don't want to.
No, the biggest one, and people don't understand this, is like nuts, trail mix, all that shit.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like nuts have so many, I mean, they're very calorie dense. Or even like, I've been really trying to also focus on my macros and trying to like pump protein in instead of doing
Which is
carbs.
tough.
And it is very tough. I would think I'd be like, wow, I had like 2 protein shakes a day. I ate some chicken. I had this. I'm at like 150. I need to like still need 20 more grams of protein. I feel like I've eaten a lot of protein. I'm already at my calorie goal. So I guess I can't. But like it's just crazy. I mean, like when you really get, and that's not always necessary. But what I'm trying to do, it's necessary that I need to do it. Yeah. But like, yeah, which I mean, Tyler, how much did you eat on those days that you did do a race? I mean, you were probably eating what, like 5,000, 6,000 calories?
Yeah, you can't get enough, especially if you're doing back-to-back type of things because you're just burning, 2,500, 3,000 more calories a day. I don't know. Interesting story about the heart thing. So it was about 3 years ago. So I wear a heart rate monitor. Okay. And I've been doing this for since I was in high school or college. And I used to keep not like now, but when I ride.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, always? And I was like, then I was thinking like, oh, I have a Garmin. And so it technically does keep my heart rate.
Yeah, I have that now, but I don't really care. But so I used to keep a diary, cycling diary, and every morning I wake up, check my heart rate. So I always have known what it is. And it's very low. And so a few years ago, I kind of had this weird heart issue during a ride. And then the next week, my wife's, I kind of told her about it. And then I did this race, and I think the heart rate monitor was wacky because it went 220. I mean, it was like, the typical, they say, what's your max heart rate? It's like 220 minus your age. And so I should not have been in the 200s. Okay. It should not happen. So it was spiking like that, but I felt fine. So she's like freaking out. So we go to the hospital. I just, to check things out. It's all fine, dandy, but they say you need to go to your doctor on Monday because it was like a Saturday. So we go into there on Monday, and they hook me up to all the cardio, the stuff, and my heart rate's at 38, and they freak out and they call the ambulance, and I'm like, no, it's been all my life. This is what it is. And they said, no, some old dude, died here or almost died the other day. So I'm like, but I'm not. So they call the ambulance, and I have an ambulance ride over to the hospital again.
Oh hell no! I'd be like, that's way too much money. I'm not spending.
Well, we have insurance, but
I know, but some insurance doesn't cover fucking. Well, I guess you have lawyer insurance. I forgot. You fucking. I mean,
no, my wife works for an insurance company, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. That's
there you go.
Yeah. No, but anyways, the point there is it's good to know. I might have been more freaked out. And then I went through all these tests. By the way, it's fun because then you go to the cardiologist and they're checking you out and they want you to get on this treadmill and he wants you to do a stress test. And I'm like, my wife's in there at the time and I look over like, oh, this is a challenge, right? So he's like getting my heart rate up. And I know these numbers. Like I could tell you where my anaerobic threshold is, how high I can go, the zones. And he's like, okay, we're moving it up. Now this might be rough. And I'm like, it's not, finally he just stopped it. So it was more of a challenge, which is stupid. It's a doctor's office.
Wait, so your resting heart rate is 38?
Yeah, I get in the high 30s there. Yeah,
that's like Michael Bisping stuff.
I don't know. And by the way, heart rate is interesting because I used to think, once again, I had the heart rate on and you do your max stuff and I would get up into the 200s and I used to think, oh, that was really cool. But it doesn't matter because your heart is so specific to you. And, there's guys that are world class that their max is like, even at a younger age, in the 160s, 170s. And so mine was just a little higher, but it went low too. So I'm lucky. I don't know.
I love JC was like, Doc, she's horrible health advice. Which, by the way, that's something ever since, and Elizabeth was like, because we were going through like, what vaccine, because she's about to go get one of these vaccines. Like, I think it's the whooping cough vaccine.
Monkeypox.
And but ever since fucking COVID, I just don't trust anything like the corporate healthcare system.
Yeah.
Is trying to say to me of like what is good and what is bad. Like I legitimately like it was the other day because I'm fucking white. I'm white as shit. Like I'm a fucking ghost. And so I was like, maybe I'll go in and I'll just like tan for like I'll get in the tanning bed at the gym on Saturday. I go to work out on Saturdays. After the workout, I'll go tan for like 5 minutes. And like I'll do that every week and maybe I'll get like, a couple shades darker. So I'm not super fucking white. And I looked it up and literally do not look up, or maybe if you want to go have some fun, go look up like what they say about like getting tan. Doctors literally think it is like you are like taking cancer from the sun and injecting it straight into your veins. They like it was something like it was basically like do not tan, do not, and this wasn't just like tanning beds. It was like do not go tan outside. It's bad for you. Do not get like anytime you do it, always put on sunscreen, like high SPF. I was like, this doesn't sound right. Like we've been outside for like literally millennia, totally fine. And then like all of a sudden they're like, no, don't go outside. Don't.
Let me tell you guys a story because this just happened to me this week. So my wife has been having some health issues and she's been getting dizzy for like I don't know, like a month. We just had COVID. We went to Yale. I got COVID. She got COVID again for the second time, and she's been like having dizziness this whole time. My kids have been having like bowel issues. Sometimes they'll be throwing up or vomiting, and we're like, we don't know what the fuck's going on. It's been a month or two. We bring the kids to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician says like, oh well, they have COVID. He's like, I think that they have something called long COVID, which is. But it sounds crazy, and I was just like, oh, fuck this guy, because he wears the mask, and I like, he's blue pilled, obviously, and I was like, I don't know. My wife goes to her doctor, and her doctor is one of these like physicians from the FLCCC. I don't, what that is?
No.
Frontline COVID.
Oh
yeah.
The lady that just was put in prison.
Yes, one of the people that knows
Not
like
for
Peter
that.
McCullough and all that.
Okay, so they're like the good guys.
The good guys. So she talks to my wife, and my wife doesn't really mention. It's just like a primary visit, and she just goes, yeah, I've been having a little bit of dizziness. And she goes, have you had COVID recently? She said, yes. She says, what was your protocol? Well, nothing. And she's like, I need to send you for blood screening. So she did blood screening to see they're checking for like the spike protein in her blood. And she's saying what's happening is whether you're vaccinated or not, if you've had COVID, there is this like leftover spike protein shit, and it's fucking people up in all different kinds of ways. And I have a feeling that it's affecting my kids, their digestive tract, and it's affecting my wife's neurological system, which is like just insanely bizarre. But so anyway, the pediatrician had the same diagnosis for both my kid and my wife. Pediatrician says, oh, I think they have long COVID. And they're like, well, what can we do about it? And they're like, nothing. We don't know anything. The lady that saw my wife was like, we're putting you on ivermectin. I'm putting you on a steroid where I want you to drink this type of tea, and like treating this thing aggressively. And it's just so bizarre how like the doctors that we're respecting, they're just like, yeah, we don't know what to do. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But it's long COVID. And the doctors who were calling kooks are like, well, actually, no, we have a protocol for this, and we've seen it before, and it's been working for people. So I can't wait for you to have a kid, because having a kid is insane on so many levels. Tyler knows. But when it comes to like the primary care doctor visits, and they're like, every time you go there, they're going to want to sell you a new vaccine for your kid.
Yeah.
That's and Elizabeth was, that's what one thing Elizabeth was like, are you okay if because it's the one that they give her, and then like, I want to say it's for whooping cough and tetanus. I want to say that's the two or something like that. so that whenever they're born, they have it, so they don't have to worry about whooping cough with you. And like, and I was
hepatitis C, they give them a vitamin K shot, and then they want to do a hepatitis B or hepatitis C. They did the vitamin K for both of my kids, but I was like, my kids don't have hepatitis. Don't touch them with that shit.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Is like I don't even know if I want to give them like the chickenpox vaccine, like because I mean I remember getting that. I never got chickenpox, so that was the thing. But I would get me and my sister both got the chickenpox vaccine, and then my mom would still take us to anybody that did get chickenpox and be like, okay, go play at your friend's house, and like literally like rub all up against them as much as you can because we want to get you chickenpox. We both got the vaccine. My sister did get chickenpox and later on got shingles multiple times. It comes back all the time.
It happened to my wife.
Yeah. I never got anything, so I don't know what like it was. I hung out with all my friends that got chickenpox. It's just a very fucking weird thing. Like, and there was a the other thing
medical
was like,
advice on Twitter.
Yeah, DM me.
And Elizabeth is like on the same thing of like I would rather just take if there's any vaccines that they've been using for like a long fucking time, I'll be okay with those. It's just like any new shit. No, I'm not gonna give them any. Like, definitely not COVID vaccine to our kids. Definitely not anything or the ones like the sexual transmitted disease vaccines, like the
HPV.
Well, I mean, it's a boy.
I'm gonna send you
Maybe
guys
he
a book.
identifies as a pregnant female.
I'll send you guys a book that we've been reading since before even COVID, because we've had my daughter on a delayed vaccine schedule, so like spreading them out over a long period of time rather than like you go to the doctor, they want to give your kid 3 or 4
6 shots.
vaccines.
Yeah. They're gonna be like, let's fill them up, baby.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's where the real danger lies, where it's like you're giving a baby like dead viruses, and if you do them one at a time, like you can see there's changes in my daughter and my son. There's changes in their behavior when we gave them these stuff because like they're getting sick. But there's one in specific. It's 3-in-1. It's like a measles, MMR, measles, mumps, rubella.
Rubella.
And they do it. They package them because I guess it's like cost efficient for the pharmaceutical company. But that's the one that really fucks kids up. And
can you ask for it like singular? Can you be like, no, can I get like the measles right now? And then like,
I'm not even. We got to my son's 4th or 5th shot. I forget which one it even is, and he had he still has like a lump on his leg from it because they give him in the leg, and I was just like, no more. So now I'm like, I wasn't anti-vax, but now like I guess I am.
That's the weird because Elizabeth was like, "Are you anti-vax?" And I was like, "Not really," because I think vaccines do work. I mean, legitimately, the science is that like vaccines work. Like they literally stopped. Like smallpox. Like smallpox doesn't exist anymore because they used the cowpox vaccine, whatever. But like by now it's just like, but there's something weird about they literally want to do all of like so many in a row to kids, and for things that like, I mean, that are basic. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard of, and now I heard there was a whole thing of like whooping cough is coming back because they're not getting vaccines, but I've been around a lot of people that have babies recently. None of them I've heard of have gotten whooping cough. I don't know. Like, it's just like, I mean, I know that's personal bias and whatever the fuck, but still, the more like I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't know if I want for like, again, we've seen how this pharmaceutical industry is just corrupt to all shit. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Spud and then also Nikki was the other one. I don't think Nikki's kids have had vaccines at all.
Remember the Zika virus? Like,
yeah,
yeah. Turned out to be bullshit, right? I don't know, man. We decided to like completely stop because my son got hurt from it. Like he had like a bump on his leg, and it was like it was hell for us for a long time. And I was like, you know what, we're done.
Were you ever legitimately worried about autism from vaccines?
No.
I was. Yeah, I was scared about like. So I don't know what these things do. So I didn't know.
This is the problem with the Libertarian Party. They need libertarians, but they're anti-vax, which you can just create them out of vaccines. So it seems to me the way we should be pushing
it's
these.
It's a paradox, really.
Right. I don't know if you guys you listened to the Clint thing, and then with Dave with the Shermer and Penn Jillette that we broke down, but both of them had this thing where like, oh, people are anti-vax because they're so they're so into what Trump is saying, and so therefore they're not. And I'm like, that is such a straw man. The reasons, like we're talking about here, are injuries, or what's the risk, right? And most people are doing that calculation in their head. We actually found a doctor here in California that's been on the forefront of this stuff, and my wife went and talked to him, and he's like, look, we found this, before it was a big deal. He's like, I treat them. That's the problem. You're not getting treated. It's like, oh, go stay home. He's like, that's not a doctor's remedy. So exactly what Danny was saying here about, like, one doctor's like, I don't know, and the other ones are taking care of it. So,
well, and also like, and another thing is like, I was never like, I think I got all my vaccines when I was growing up. I did get all of them. But the other thing was, I was also, my parents were very good about like getting me out and around other kids and around other people, and just making sure I got like a lot of fucking things, like just that natural, like, and outside.
How old are you, Cole? You're
26.
like 26. All right, so I'm 33. I'm gonna be 34 in a week. But when I was growing up, I think it was like 16 vaccines total. Yeah, you're old as shit, Tyler. But you were probably around...
back in my day, we did what Cole did, but your dad would take you to the whore prostitute, so you get all these STDs.
You get all the,
you're like,
we get you herpes real early. So you don't have to
real early. I mean, for my 10th birthday, I got Valtrex.
You just learn to live with it, just itchy a little bit every. That's how it is. You just
anyway. So, what were you saying?
They gave me 16 vaccines total. Like, if you see like my card, I have 16 shots, and you were probably around the same. For my kid, it's something like 64.
Jesus.
That's
And
it's
I'm
like,
with Spud.
why?
It's like, we had a little card of vaccines that you had to do. So
and I don't plan on like. I think I don't plan on taking them to public school. I want to homeschool kids because I just don't. I mean, at like the most, I would do like a private school. Well,
you want your wife to do that, right? You don't want
exactly. Yeah. Not me. I'm working. I can't fucking take it.
It's actually very interesting because my kids are like school age now, and it's like, I always say that it's like, I want to homeschool them, and people are like, oh yeah, wait until you got the kids home all day. You're not going to want to homeschool. And it's like, you kind of give yourself no choice. Like, they're not vaccinated, so they can't go. It's like, good, we have to do this at home. And I'm like, it's just the best choice in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes it. Yeah, and that's the big thing. Is I think about like, okay, do I want to get vaccinated? Like, what do I want to do? But it's like, I can deal with like the whole, how am I going to discipline, or what am I going to do? But like, it's like these things are like, okay, very important. What things do I want to inject into my son before like he turns 2 years old? Like, what?
They're likely not reversible, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
You can still turn around that psycho kid that's killing all the neighbors' chickens. You maybe go, okay, Danny,
those are from the vaccines.
right. Yeah, you're like, okay, I've seen that. What's the show where he's a mass murderer on
Dexter?
Yes, there you go. Yeah, Dexter.
Oh, okay. I got it right. Okay, good. That was the serial killer that only kills bad people.
What was that made me think about, because Danny's talking about his kids killing chickens, and then 10. That's a lot. My wife just on this app that's like your local neighborhood. There's this cats are just disappearing and then showing up dead. Well, they caught some kid on camera. He's like 18-year-old. He just swipes cats, slaughters them, and then like throws them. And I'm like, this is not this kid. You got to use him for good instead of evil. And I don't know what's that.
Well,
take him to San Francisco.
Cats. It's totally fine.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but he's gonna go to humans.
But yeah, it's like, these are the things that like I have to, in like, especially like injecting her with the vaccine while she's pregnant. That seems, I don't know, it just seems very weird to me.
Yes.
I mean, the thing that kind of came down to was like, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna be fine. Again, I guess they've been. I would rather be. I don't know. I should have probably looked into this more. She's probably getting it like Tuesday, so I gotta like. But I don't know. Like, I feel like this is one that they've been doing. Like the whooping cough has probably been around for forever. So they've been, this one's probably they've been doing this for a long time.
What you need to do is just bring it up in the group chat, and we could just abuse.
There you go. Just bully. Use the group think of how we're doing vaccines. Because
that's weird though. My wife didn't get that when she was pregnant.
They said that either the mom can get it, or they can give it to her after, or like the actual doctor wasn't too bad. She was like, you don't have to get this. This is not. She was just like, but if you don't get it, you just have to make sure that when they're around people, that whooping cough can be carried and then like your baby can get whooping cough and it's not very good. Like that's it. I knew it. Whooping cough was a big bad thing like in the 20s or something.
Dude,
killed a lot of kids.
This is the worst part about being a parent. It's like, what do I do? What do I do next? Like, there's so much unpredictability if you make the wrong move. Even when it comes down to discipline, like a lot of the stuff that Dave Smith, like peaceful parenting, I'm a big advocate of that. But it's like sometimes you're like,
damn,
am I
it'd be
doing
easier
the right
to hit him.
thing? Yeah, it'd be easier to just fucking punch this kid. But it's like, am I doing it's constantly, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing. I was like, because I told Elizabeth, like I said, I don't want to hit. I don't want us to hit our kids. So I was like, I don't think it's right. It's very weird. And it's a very, by the way, down here in like in the South, it is a very big thing to hit your kids. Like it is seen as not only like good, it is seen as biblical. Like it is like you need to do this because the Bible says so. You should beat your kids because
spoil the rod, spoil the child, or spare the rod,
spoil the child.
Whatever.
And it's like it's not even, the spoil the child thing is not even true. The whole thing was just to spare the rod. Like there's a verse about them sparing the rod, but I can't even imagine that's like what they're even. It might not be what they were talking about. Like I don't know. But like I just can't imagine like hitting, like, because I don't hit my wife whenever she does something wrong. Why would I hit I don't tell people I hit my wife whenever she does something wrong, but
careful.
This is being recorded.
No, but like and that's when I talked to Elizabeth. I was like, I don't hit you if you do something wrong. I'm not going to hit. Why would we hit our child that may either?
Yeah.
And I think the best argument was when I saw someone say like, if they're old enough to understand, why don't you just like reason with them? And if they aren't old enough to understand, why are you just hitting them? Because then they don't understand it at all, what's going on. And I think that was, to me, was like, oh, that makes total sense.
Here's the tip of what you need to remember. Always be present in the moment, because sometimes when you're dealing with the kids, even if they do understand, they're assholes. These kids are just generally, I mean, it depends on the kid you have, but like they will push you to the limit.
Yeah.
Just try to be cognizant of what you're doing in the moment, because it's very easy to be lazy and react to something.
Yeah.
Like, what is the expedient route for me to take right now? Don't do that. You have to stop and think. And you know, I'm guilty of not stopping and thinking all the time. But if you can stop and say, what am I doing? How do I do this right? Then you'll do it. And you know what? Maybe cardio comes into this, man. If you're like cardioed out of your brain, man, I'm telling you, your brain, the blood is going to be flowing through your brain so much faster, and you'll be able to think and maybe choose correctly.
There you go. If you work out,
and you're too tired to get up and hit them too. So
yeah.
The fact that you're actually thinking about it beforehand, I think, is commendable, because I didn't, and I just went forward with how my parents had done it. And there's some regret on that. I wasn't over the top on any of it, but you do lose your mind a bit at times. So let's shut it down. But I just wanted to ask real quick. So you're gonna have kids. Are you gonna push them into sports that you did at yourself? Like, Danny, are you pushing your kids to do? My kids decided cycling was never anything they wanted to do, so now I'm golf. What is something? So what about you guys?
My dad forced me into baseball when I was 4, and I played it. I still play it till to this day. But in college I quit, and I remember when I quit, my dad like cried almost, because I quit, and I realized quickly, like, the traveling, the practice, I was like, I don't love this. I was doing this because I'm good at it, and because you love it. I'm not going to push them into that. I'm going to teach them how to fight for sure. Like basic skills. If they want to know how to play baseball, like if they see me playing and they like, oh, I kind of want to do that, I'll teach them. Maybe to shoot the bow and stuff. But whatever they're interested in, I'll show them. But I don't think I can force them.
Yeah, and I was talking with Elizabeth because we were at Academy for some reason getting something, and I was talking to him, and I was like, she was like, "Are you gonna force them into a sport?" And I was like, "Probably not." But I was like, I would want them to do something, like at least.
Yeah.
And so we kind of agreed. It's like we're gonna make them do like one thing that is outside extracurricular. Like you can, and it doesn't have to be sports. You can play an instrument. You can fucking do a band, or you can do whatever. But you have to do one thing. And it's like, if it's a sport, choose whatever sport, and I'll fucking like look into it and figure out how this. If it's like fucking racquetball, I'll become like the world's best racquetball guy that actually never played it, but I'll look up all the school. I'll know all the rules, and I'll help you out.
What if they want to do racist podcasting?
Oh, dude, I'm the best. Like they have the Michael Jordan right here. Like it's like they can follow the dad's footsteps.
Yeah, I think as long as the kids are involved in something, you remember this probably when you were in school, those kids that had nothing, they were too easily whatever, they were doing something bad, right? Because they had nothing else going on in their life. So you have a better chance of that. Totally.
And
agree.
that was something that my parents like. Now there wasn't just one thing. I always played sports because I enjoyed sports. So I always played every sport I could. The one thing I didn't like, my parents forced me to do was music. I had to. They made me take piano for 5-6 years, and then they made me take voice lessons for like another 5 or 6 years.
So why don't you sing with Toad on a?
Yeah, I did. No, I like it, but it was not. And that was the thing. Whenever I didn't have to do it anymore, I stopped. I didn't because I didn't want to do it. I never liked it.
Yeah. When we were at my house, I was playing with Toad, and even Reed said he played the piano, but he did. Cole stood quiet. Now I'm suspicious. Next time you're over, I'm gonna make.
Dude, I know. I know. Legitimately, I played piano for 5 or 6 years, and I was actually not gonna lie, I was actually really good at it. But again, my heart was not in it at all. Like I won competitions and shit, but I was like, it was just. And when I was young, I was like in 4th, 5th grade, and I was very good at piano.
Rachmaninoff, but other than that,
but like, and then voice, I went to voice competitions, but like, it was just like, that was like, I think more my mom's thing. My mom was like, okay, my dad was like, he gets to play sports. Hell yeah. My mom was like, he also has to do, girly shit. And so I should have kept on. You should have kept on with that. You could have been the next Tim Pool. He's got a voice too. He's got a pipe, baby.
Hey, why don't you guys plug what you have going on, and then I'll head out of here. I appreciate you hanging out with me this Friday evening. It's been a fun time.
Tower Power Hour. That's the only thing I have. And Noto for P on Twitter. I really need to change it, but I'm too lazy to. But Tower Power on this Sunday. It's 9/11, so we're having 9/11 spectacular. We're gonna have some a fun time. I think we're gonna do our slur tournament, but it's mostly just gonna be 9/11 stuff. We're gonna try to have everybody on. I've been trying to push them to have a rotating kind of like I think Forest Mommy had her like 4-year or 2 or 3 year whatever podcast anniversary, and she had like a 4-hour podcast. I don't know if it needs to be that long, but like different people come on. I would love to have Tyler on. I know we want to have Luke and Typo on from Biting the Bullet, but just have a fun time on Sunday. So come check that out.
Hell yeah. You can catch me at Toplobsta _ on Twitter, toplobsta.com. We've got new merch up, and we're always doing things on there. Check out podcastmerch.com. That's a lot of fun there. It's a project I'm working on. We're going to go live with that the revised website pretty soon. Sunday I guess I'll be on Tower Power Hour because everyone's going to be on there. Monday I'll be on No Way Jose with Dave Smith and Clint and Reed for the 5 Pony Boys or whatever the fuck they're calling it.
Wait,
now.
You're gonna be on that too? Am I the only? Me and Toad are never gonna get on that. We're just gonna be shunned from that show.
You're the 2 centaurs.
I've been asking. I'm like, listen, because it was the 4 Pony Boys. So I was like, Jose, if it's just 4, I was like, I don't mind sitting out. Podcasting is not like really what I do. I do it sometimes, but I don't know. Whatever you guys want. If you want me on a podcast, ask me. I'll go.
Oh, by the way, I'll plug this as well. Clint is having on Alex Jones tomorrow. Just watch that show. It's gonna be fucking insane. It's he's so excited. His shirt is on your website right now. Yeah, go buy the shirt. It's fucking rad. It looks awesome. But yeah, that's gonna be. I'm gonna plug that for Clint.
Matter of fact, I was going to have us go through and find ridiculous questions that that Clint should ask.
I just hope they talk about Ashton for an hour. That's all I care about. It's like he just goes he just has an intervention. He sits down with Clint and he says, "Hey man, she's an interdimensional demon, right? She's been possessed."
Right.
So just kidding, Ashton.
Yeah, no, that should be good. It'd be good. Yeah. So for me, everybody check my stuff. I just had Dave Smith. That was my seminal moment. We've had Clint. I'm getting from that. I have Nick Gillespie is going to come on here this month. I snagged him because of that. And our kill.
Are you gonna break down your own breakdown?
Right. That's really meta. I'm gonna ask him, what's wrong with this, and then I just want to talk to him about other stuff because I think like what we're doing here. There's certain times with like Dave. By the way, Dave came on. It was fabulous. He spent almost 2 hours just going through these things. Yeah,
I actually couldn't believe he was on that for that long. I was legitimately like, oh, wow.
I asked him before. I said, "How much time do you have?" He goes, "Dude, everyone's in bed. I'm good for the night." So I said, hang on. And I sucked him in. He hasn't responded to any DMs. He might be mad about that, but it was what it was.
No, he's very bad about that anyway. So
no, he was great. So anyway, that's what we have. We have a Kill podcast coming up next week. You guys will have to check us out and join us on one of those. I'm going to do it a little better. I'm going to bring in one special guest with Andy and I, and then we're just going to rotate people through, kind of like how Kill Tony does it. So you guys would be up for a special guest, or you come on and do your thing if you ever want. Thank you, everybody. Get fit. You two hang on and just get this outro, which is a little long, but I love it. So take care.
Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye, guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Chick-fil-A is completely overrated. It's not that good. I prefer Zaxby's. I prefer Popeyes.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. And I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Should I vote for Dick Cheney on the Libertarian Party? Do I have an obligation to vote for Dick Cheney?
I would say so.
Yes.
Did it work for those people?
No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us.
That one dude was like, not a podcast, I can't find it anywhere, and they don't have video.
Oh yeah, Peter Janke. Yeah.
Yeah, I blocked him.
I'll do it. If he unblocks me,
He'll buy your shirt if you unblock him, Bert.
He's a wigger.
Yeah, nothing cooler than a 49-year-old wigger.
I just started live streaming. Cut me some slack. I'm pretty high tech for a boomer. But anyways,
boomer.